Mount Everest. Mount Everest is the tallest and largest mountain in the world, situated in the Himalayas near the Tibetan border. It was formed 60 million years ago, after the supercontinent of Laurasia broke up and India moved slowly north towards Asia and then crashed into it. The seabed between the two plates of the Earth's crust was crumbled and pushed up on the northern rim of India to form the Himalayas, and Mount Everest being the highest amongst them. Mount Everest is 29,035 feet high and is growing at the rate of 1 to 3 inches every year. Mount Everest got its name after the British Secretary-General, Sir George Everest, who was the first to try to locate the exact position of the peak. The average temperature at the top of the Mount Everest mountain is quite chillingly 100 degrees below freezing point most of the time. It is just the sub-zero temperatures that prevent climbers from scaling the mountain at great lengths, but also the great altitude and lack of oxygen at the top, along with mounting air pressure. The flora and fauna is poor on this mount because of its high altitude and almost extreme inhospitable climate. Some species of birds have been seen here, as for example the bar-headed goose and choof. The first climbers to reach the top of Mount Everest were Sir Edmund Hillary and Sherpa Tenzing Norgay from New Zealand and Nepal respectively in the year 1953. Mount Everest is named Sagar Matha, meaning goddess of the sky by the Nepalese, and Chomo Lungma, meaning mother goddess of the universe by the Tibetans. Local cultures around the mountainous areas of Tibet and Nepal worship Mount Everest as their goddess and have many rituals and prayers to offer to the mountain. Mount Everest was once considered to be one of the 7 natural wonders of the world and still poses an immense challenge to mountaineers. The wind blows at a staggering rate of 118 miles per hour and hence is nicknamed locally as the jet stream because of its absolute intense velocity. The mountain's melting snow is a major source for all rivers originating from the area. It is a very important factor in maintaining the ecological balance of the Himalayas. Mount Everest comprises of different types of rocks, namely shale, limestone, and marble. The rocky summit atop of the mount is covered with deep snow all year long. Due to the magnanimity and height of Mount Everest, it is also called the crown of the world. There have been a large number of avalanches and snowstorms reported at the mountain. The mountain has been scaled by 400 people till date. The access to the mountain is restricted by the Nepalese government to prevent damage to the environment. According to mountaineers, there are at least 4 camps at each level for scaling it. It is said that the journey from the base camp to Camp 1 is one of the most difficult because of the thin, icy stretch in that area. Kushang Sherpa is the only mountaineer to have climbed all the 4 sides of Mount Everest. He is now an instructor with Himalayan Mountaineering Institute. The first woman to scale Mount Everest was the Japanese climber Junko Tabe on May 16, 1975, and Bachendri Pal was one of the first Indians to have scaled Mount Everest. Rigorous physical training was required for scaling Mount Everest in the early days. With the advent of oxygen masks, the climbing of Mount Everest has become a less daunting task. In 1922 was the first time that some climbers succeeded to climb the Mount Everest with the help of bottled oxygen. Truly, this huge piece of natural wonder continues to mystify us with its sheer strength and power. It still is a huge part of our popular culture as well as geological and historical integrity.